Hey Classroom 6! This week we are learning about ecosystems. There are lots of different types of ecosystems in the world. This is a place where populations of people and animals and plants live. So for example, a forest is an ecosystem. A rainforest is an ecosystem. A desert is an ecosystem. Even the places that we live are ecosystems. So we're going to look a little bit at some of the terminology that we use when we talk about ecosystems, and we're going to work on relating it to your own life. So let's get started. First of all, we have to talk about the definition of an ecosystem. An ecosystem is all the living and non-living things found in an area. So for example, let's think about our ecosystem in Classroom 6. There are living things, like all of you students and all of us teachers. There are also non-living things. Think about desks, chairs, computers, papers, pencils. Now I want you to think about your house. Your house is an ecosystem for your family. So think about what kinds of living and non-living things are in your ecosystem. For example, in my ecosystem, the living things include me, my husband, and our cat Pippa. We also have some non-living things like clothes, kitchen items, and a ton of books in our home library. So what sorts of people or pets do you have in your house? What sorts of non-living things do you have in your house? The second word we're going to talk about is population. A population is a group of organisms of one species that live in an area at the same time. So this means one type of thing that lives in an ecosystem. So if you think about the ecosystem in our classroom, we have lots of different populations. We have lots of different types of things. So for example, there's a population of Sharpie markers on my desk. There's a population of students who sit at their workstations. Now think about a type of population in your home ecosystem. My husband and I have a population of books in our library. We have a population of clothes in our drawers. So think about one type of thing, living or non-living, that you have in your home ecosystem. Then we have the word community. A community is the combination of all of the populations in an area, and the members of a community have to depend on each other to fill their needs. So in our classroom community, we have lots of different populations that interact together to make school happen. We need a population of students so that you can learn. We need a population of teachers so that we can teach you. We need a population of paper so that we have things to work on. And we need a population of pens and pencils and markers so that we can use that paper. All of these different populations or species work together in order to make the ecosystem work. So think about the populations in your home that rely on each other to make a community. How do you rely on your mom or your dad or your grandma or your grandpa? How do your siblings rely on each other? What sorts of non-living things do you rely on in your home? Then we have niche. A niche is the role that an organism has in an ecosystem. So every individual thing is an organism, and every organism has a very important job to do. So think about how we rotate our classroom jobs when we're at school. Everybody has a role. Everyone has a niche. Some weeks you might be the line leader, the math wall eraser, the chair stacker. My role is to teach you. Mr. Reckner's role is to put your cautions up in the room, right? And the whiteboard's role is to show you what things we're going to be learning each day. So think about your home and the different roles that things in your house have. You might be responsible for different things than your siblings are. Your parents are probably responsible for different things than you are. And then we have habitat. A habitat is the place where that organism lives. So that means that in one ecosystem, we can have a lot of different habitats because we have a lot of different populations, and each population needs somewhere else to be. So for example, the population of students in Classroom 6, their habitat is at their desks, whereas the markers and the toys, those belong in the cabinet. The cabinet is their habitat. So your personal habitat is your individual workstation. Mr. Reckner has a different habitat than I do because he has his desk at one corner of the room and I have my desk at another corner of the room. The caution signs live in Mr. Reckner's habitat, and the toys live in the big cupboard. Sharpie markers live in my habitat. So think about what's in your habitat at your house. Where is your habitat? Do you have your own bedroom? Are there different habitats in your home ecosystem? You're going to be answering some of these questions on the Google Classroom today, so be thinking about these things. Good work today, Classroom 6.